There are people out there who don't know who you are, right? So just give me a kind of an idea of how you got into dancing. What inspired you?
I can't recall exactly what inspired me, but I know that one day I went to the Caribbean School of Dancing that was located on Donald Street and registered with Marcia Turner. At that time she was just Marcia Turner. And I've been dancing since. And in that class there was Pat Rowe, Patrick Chan, Michael Niles, and Roger Shim. Roger Shim became a prima dancer with the Royal Winnipeg Ballet Company and then went on to the Zurich Opera Company, right? So that was the sort of element that I grew up in. And so that I did that, but before, you know, Bishop's Anstey High School always had a tradition of dance teachers coming into the school and doing class a week. And it still goes on to this day. And Helen Mary Kay had come into the school and had taught me. So I don't know if that made the impression that I should further myself in dance and send me on to Marcia.
And that's where your dancing blossomed?
Yes. She was very inspiring. I stayed with her until I stayed in Trinidad, and I went to Canada, and I went to a wonderful lady called Sybil Rogers, and then I went to England and spent some years in England at the London College of Dance and Drama, and as well as the London School of Contemporary Dance. Then I went to New York to the Martha Graham School of Contemporary Dance. So I spent a few years, 10 years away actually, 4 years away.
So you always had the intention to come back home to teach?
Correct. Always had the feeling that I would come back home to teach. I never wanted to dance for some reason, right? I danced away because to get experience how it felt to be a professional and things like that. But I always said that I was coming back home to teach. I didn't know when, but I knew that I would know when the time was right. And that's exactly what happened in 1974 when I came back.
Were you doing just ballet or you were doing modern dance? What were your specialties?
My specialty is really modern dance, but in London we did all forms of dance. We did modern, which is the English version. We did stage, we did tap, we did ballroom, we did natural movement, ballet, and I also did Martha Graham at London College. And then there was a drama section. We did drama and we did anatomy and physiology and that sort of thing.
Wow, so you just had the full gamut of how to, and well, basically you were well equipped to come down here and start your own company.
Yeah.
Tell me a little history about how you started developing your own dancing school.
The dance company?
Yeah, the dance company, yeah.
Well, how did I start? Well, it started, as I say, when I came back, I was working with Derek Walker at the Trinidad Theatre Workshop and Astor Johnson. And it was a wonderful group of dancers at that time, which would include Ozilla Stewart, Alison Brown, Sandra Richards, Trevor Redhead, a whole bunch of us. And we decided to form a company called the Trinidad Theatre Workshop Dance Company. And then from that company, we went into the La Chapelle Douglas Dance Company, and then subsequently on to Logo Douglas Dance Company.
And that's when you created Little Put, or that was before, well, or the little time after?
Little Put was created in 1975, but it was called Rockdess Theatre. And it was created by Tony Hall and myself. Tony wanted to introduce drama to children. I thought it was a great idea. So we came together and we did that. And then we did a production on TTT called Rockdess Theatre. Tony then went back to Canada. And I felt because Tony wasn't here, and we had done that production at TTT, that maybe we should have a name change, because now it would be me and whoever else that I would encourage to come and teach the drama. So that's when I thought, why not Lilliput Children's Theatre? Because it's little people theatre. It really only came to the forefront not many years ago, you know. It was when we were at Trinity College. And I will say this, there was a bunch of parents that came to me. One is Shan Aboud. The other one was Karen De Silva. They brought their children in and they thought it was so wonderful that they got their friends and all sorts of people to come and take part in it. And that was when it started to grow. So all the time before, yes, we had a little bit of students and whatnot, but it was when Shana and Karen De Silva came in and what happened, it crossed boundaries because it was basically Negro black children that was coming to me, and when they came in, their children went to St. Andrew's School, so we had all these diverse people coming in. So that was very interesting, and so to this day they still come and they're very interested in coming.
Tell me something about the dance company in context of its relation to Queen's Hall. I think you would consider here your home because most of your shows happen here.
Yeah, but I consider here my home for both Lilliput and the dance company. Mm-hmm. The dance company, we went through a sort of a period where we didn't dance, like 3 years or so. We didn't do anything because their dancers were getting older and I had to start thinking of how it is going to continue.
Succession planning.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So what happened is that we started to increase the sort of classes that the school members had and start a repertory group and things like that so that it could develop further, right? So that Lilliput is really, to me, Queen's Hall is the home of Lilliput. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is the dance company because early on we used to do 2 shows a year and all sorts of things like that. But I just feel that this sort of relationship I have with Queen's Hall goes back to when I danced. Because I can't remember the exact year I danced, but I think it was almost close to the opening of Queen's Hall that the Caribbean School of Dancing had a show called Pinocchio, and I was the fox in it, right? And that is the old Queen's Hall. And I think that was, if Queen's Hall, what is 1958, I think Queen's Hall started, I think that show was in 59 or close to that time.
So that means that you have been here almost all your life.
Yeah.
If you're talking about 1959,
so
1960.
So Queen's Hall is very special to me. So that's why I get on rough sometimes with some of the employees.
Now you're talking about Queen's Hall back in the 1950s. Could you give me some of what it used to look like because of the modern structure nowadays? Some people may not even recall what it looked like then.
It was a beautiful building, design building. It was perfect for the time, but it was open air. And you had it was wooden floor, and you had the chairs the metal chairs, and you had the mezzanine. And the stage was about the same size, but you had a wall cyclorama, right? And then you had the dressing rooms on either side of it. But the problem was that the noise factor from outside became more and more and more, so that you were inside and you were hearing what was going on outside. Plus, rain used to blow in, you know, and all this sort of thing. But the beauty about that place was that you could have adjusted it to what size you wanted, if you wanted the whole hall, or you wanted to bring it up. So in a lot of times, Lilliput had to bring up the ramp because the little voices couldn't be heard outside because of the road, you know, heard properly because the road was too much noise from the road. So that was really a thing, but it was very enjoyable because then you could do all sorts of craziness, do things in the wrong, do things, bring up the ramp, do things on proscenium. One show, I think it was Singly Chorus, they had seated on the stage. And they performed down at the bottom, later on, you know. So it was really quite an interesting building.
I just wanted to get some idea about the dance theater. In relation to it, of course you said here is home, so it was home for Lilliput as home for the dance theater as well. What was and you recently had a show, was it a milestone event that you celebrated recently?
30 years.
30 years.
With the dance company, right? You know, dance, the show is called Teeth, and it explains to people that there's so much hard work that you have to bite into these things to keep going all these years, because dance is a hard seller. It really is hard to sell. But parents and the grandparents and the godmother and the auntie all want to come and see their darlings dance. But when you have a company of 10 and then you have the extra ones, so maximum 60, it is pulling teeth to get people in the hall. You know, the production becomes really very hard. I tell people all the time, I'd rather do 20 Lilliput shows than one dance company show. And it is all about trying different ways to get people inside that hall. It is mental fatigue. I would not have gotten here by myself, right? So it's very important for people to know that it was a group of people that made me what I am today, right? And I appreciate all of them. I can't call names, and the worst thing is to call names and forget people. But you know, I thank them, and I will continue to work for them.
And the dance continues.
Yes, the dance and the children, more children, every year. They're wonderful.
Think like Margaret, you'll get it. All right, thank you so much, Tobago.